guys, welcome back to our channel. Today I wanted to do kind of an overview of Tucker's hands as well as an update since he has had his cast off from his last surgery. For those of you that are new or have not seen any of our previous videos, our son Tucker, who is 1, was born with a condition called complex complete bilateral syndactyly. Syndactyly is a fairly generic term, and it just means that there's fusion of digits, whether it be fingers or toes. In Tucker's case, it's his hands. For him, it affected his middle ring and pinky fingers on both hands. It's complex, meaning that there's bone involved with the fusion. Complete in that the fusion, the syndactyly, runs the full length of his finger from the base to the tip. Bilateral because it affected both sides of his ring fingers. There was fusion, or a fusion on both sides. And then both hands, self-explanatory, both hands. He was diagnosed with this at birth. We did not know before he was born that he had this condition. Nothing on ultrasounds or anything like that showed it. So we were very surprised when he was born with it. However, that being said, I do want to show you my hands. Don't know how well you can see. This is my right hand, and this is my left. My hands are completely normal in size and shape with the exception of these 4 fingers. These 2 are completely identical. I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but I do have 2 joints, but the bone, which is right here, which instead of being long and rectangular is short and triangular, which is what makes the fingers short and bent inwards. This one is my oddball. This finger only has 1 joint and it fits perfectly up against the joint of my middle finger. This one is just like my pinkies. I have 2 joints with a triangular shaped middle bone, and I also have this hump on the side which is called a delta phalanx. I had surgery on this one when I was 13, 2001, in an attempt to make it more or less like this one, which kind of worked, kind of didn't, but there you go. My official diagnosis, from what I can tell from the paperwork, now mind you this was almost 30 years ago, but they thought it was a, let's see, Category A2 Bell's brachydactyly, and then there's also the term Clinodactyly in the paperwork. Not completely sure what that means, and I'm sure that doctors today would have a different explanation, but there you go. As far as Tucker goes, like I said, we did not know that he had this condition before he was born. So out he came, had his hands. When we were still in the hospital after his birth, the pediatrician on staff took a look at him, and he said while he doesn't know very much about hand deformities, even though he doesn't know much about hand deformities, he said that he does know that they often go hand in hand with heart issues. So one of the first things that we had done was an echocardiogram while we were in the hospital still. And that came back completely normal with the exception of a small hole in his heart. I forget what it's called, but it's very common. And he had a secondary echocardiogram when he was 6 months old, just prior to his first surgery, and that had completely closed. So that's no longer an issue. His heart's perfectly fine. We haven't been able to find anything else wrong with him either, with the exception of those finger issues. When we left the hospital, we were given a referral to a hand clinic in a town about an hour and a half from us. We did a little bit of research before we went to that appointment, and we ultimately decided not to have him seen there. And the reason for that was that it was an adult clinic. They do see children, but not very many. And I just said, his hands are so small. I want somebody who knows what they're doing and is used to working on the little bitty guys. I don't want anybody else working on my son. So we canceled that appointment, went back to square one, and started doing research. I knew enough at this point, just by Google, that it was some form of syndactyly. So I started calling around, started talking to different hospitals, talking to anybody that I could find, looking for recommendations, and who we ultimately found was Dr. Benjamin Chang at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. And we got him on recommendation from my aunt's podiatrist, who's also in Philadelphia. And so we decided that he's who we wanted to go see, at least for an initial consult. Dr. Chang is a pediatric, orthopedic, and plastics surgeon. And that was very attractive to us in that we hoped that he would do everything he could to give Tucker the maximum mobility in his fingers, as well as make them look as good as possible. So we went to our initial consult in September of 2016. Yeah, September of 2016, when Tucker was a few months old, and had him seen, and that's when he was officially diagnosed with the complex complete bilateral syndactyly of both hands. And we were given sort of a treatment plan by Dr. Chang. We had some x-rays done as well, and he said that he would recommend that if we chose to go with him in his hospital, then we would do surgery in 2 stages. It'd be 2 separate surgeries, one when he was 6 months old and one when he was a year old. And that's ultimately what we decided to do. We got a very good feeling from Dr. Chang. We loved the hospital, loved the staff, and ultimately decided that's where we wanted to go. So we went ahead and started doing everything that we needed to do, all the post-op work, to go ahead and schedule his first surgery. And that first surgery took place on the 28th of December of 2016. And that surgery took almost 6 hours. It was a very, very long surgery. But in that one, they separated both of his pinkies and then the tips of his ring and middle fingers. The reason that Dr. Chang wanted to split his treatment into 2 separate surgeries was the fact that his ring fingers were fused on both sides. And he felt that trying to separate all 3 fingers on each hand at one time would be too much trauma for the ring finger. And so we decided that it would be better to do it in two surgeries, 2 chunks. Tucker was outfitted with 2 full hand, full arm casts after that surgery, with just the little tips of his little thumbs poking out. And he was in those for almost 3 weeks for this surgery, at which point we went back up to Philadelphia and had them removed. And then we went on business as usual until June 28th of 2017, which was just after his first birthday. We went back up to Philly for his second surgery. This surgery was a whole lot faster. He was only in surgery, I think, maybe 2.5 hours. Tucker did have a harder time coming down off of anesthesia after his second surgery than he did the first. So we unfortunately don't have much in the way of video or photos. But once we got him in the car, he did start to settle back down. And he was in, again, 2 full hand, full arm casts. And he was in them this time for only 2 weeks, which was good. He was old enough this time to, I think, understand that he couldn't use his hands. And he got very frustrated and irritated that he couldn't use them. So it was a lot of screaming, a lot of swinging them. They hurt a lot. We're very glad to be done with that. So 2 weeks later, my mom and I took him back up to Philly and got the cast off. And again, we didn't get any good pictures or video because he completely freaked out when they brought the saws out to try to start getting the cast off. Lots of screaming, lots of carrying on. So we didn't get any video of that, but the casts are off. He is completely done for right now. We don't anticipate any further surgeries until he's maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, at which point he will be able to make a decision of whether or not he wants any other corrective surgeries done. And that's completely up to him. That's not a decision that we're going to make for him. That's not a decision we could make for him. Dr. Chang was very adamant that that was not a surgery that we would do until he was at least 7 years old. and he said he would recommend closer to 9 or 10, and again, that Tucker make the decision for himself. I was 13 when I had my surgery to try to correct my right index finger, and it was not a decision that I took lightly. But it was completely my decision. So with Tucker, it'll be the same thing. When he's old enough and mature enough to be able to make that decision by himself, then he will be left to make that decision. However, we do plan, if he does decide to go forward with any additional surgeries, that they will be done at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia by Dr. Chang. We had a wonderful experience. Again, the staff was amazing. We are absolutely thrilled. We're thrilled with how good his hands look. We are, how many weeks are we now? He has been out of his cast now for about 3 weeks, and you wouldn't even be able to tell. His skin graft site has healed so much faster than the first one. I think because they took less skin this time, so you can't even tell that it was recent. The scars on his hands have already started to heal significantly. He still has a little bit of swelling, but he's got, from what we can tell, full range of motion. Does not slow him down at all. He uses each of his 10 fingers individually now, which is awesome. I mean, he's gone a full year with at least 2 of them on each hand stuck together. So just in the last few weeks, he has been able to completely just relearn how to do everything, but he's using each finger individually. He's grabbing things, he's feeding himself, he's crawling, he's walking, he's climbing, doing everything that you would expect a 13-month-old to do. So he's right where he should be. We're absolutely thrilled with the result. I mean, we could not imagine his hands looking any better than they do. Dr. Chang did mention that there is a slight possibility that the webbing between his fingers could grow up the length of his fingers as he continues to grow. And if that is to happen, it would be, from what I understand, a fairly simple procedure. They would just need to be basically clipped back, I think. But that would be something that we would just have to watch for as he grows, and to make sure that he's evaluated regularly by an orthopedic specialist. We unfortunately don't live near Philadelphia. We live in Central Virginia. So for us, from where we live right now, is about a 6-hour drive, 6.5, 6 hours to Philadelphia. So going up there for regular appointments isn't really feasible. We do send Dr. Chang photos and video, which seems to work out, at least for right now, but we do plan on making sure that he is regularly evaluated by just an orthopedic specialist, probably just a regular one, wherever we happen to be living. And then if there are any issues that would require any additional surgery or any additional procedures, then we will be making the trip back up to Philadelphia for him to see Dr. Chang. We are, like I said, just thrilled with how well Tucker's hands have turned out, and as of right now, he is a perfectly normal 1-year-old boy with 10 fingers, 10 toes that work exactly as well as they should. And like I said before, if he decides that he wants any of them changed or tweaked, then that's something that he can decide when he gets older. But for right now, we have no more surgery scheduled, and if we do, it will not be for many, many years. Thank goodness. So as of right now, we do not have any other surgeries, no more procedures, no more checkups, nothing. Nothing else new for Tucker. He is right where he should be. He's meeting all of his milestones and exceeding a lot of them as well. And he's doing everything that a normal 13-month-old would be doing. He's doing swim lessons with his sister. He loves to watch her in gym class. He's playing with toys. He's eating. He's learning to walk. Just busy, busy boy. Exactly what you would expect, even without all of those surgeries. We do not have any other surgeries scheduled. No more surgeries, no more procedures, no more doctor's appointments, no more trips to Philadelphia. Thank the Lord. They're not bad trips, but it is exhausting, and we are so glad to not have to do that anymore. That's all for today's video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, click subscribe, and the bell notification to get notifications every time we upload a new video, and also be sure to follow us on our social media, Instagram and Snapchat. Thanks so much, guys. Bye. What do you think, Bubbers? What do you think? Look, what's this? What's this?
Tucker, what's this? What's this? What is this? Should I let him get down and see if he wants to stand up?
Sure. There you go.
Nona's used to doing it for you. You can do it yourself.
Oh, you can get them in your mouth. What do you think? Mwah. Tucker. Tucker tummies. Mwah. 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 Yes. Where's the big boy? Where's the big boy? You got it? I swear to God, if I have to refilm this whole thing because I have a booger hanging out of my nose, not going to be pretty.